Hey, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Mel Hubbard here. It's time for us to start talking. I'm just looking at the chat here. I'm going to be looking at the chat. Oh, I better turn this off. That's going to be a problem. A couple of things. You'll notice, boom, one microphone. Why is there one microphone? There's one microphone because there was supposed to be Tom, but he's off trekking in the wilderness, not in an electric truck, thank you very much. And then there's Robert, who about 2 hours ago said he's going to go down to the event and try and get in. And he got down there and he got in, it turns out. He got in. So what I'm going to try and do right now as we go, as we do this live, is let me see if I can call Robert. Having a little issue here. You can keep chatting and playing. Robert Rosenblum, there you go. Let us see if we can call the Robert, and then we'll get him on the phone, being there at the spot, as it were. Hey, bro, hang on. Let me put you on speakerphone. We're streaming live. Oh, hang on. So, where are you?
I'm standing in the lobby of the Hawthorne Design Center next to the James Bond The Spy Who Loved Me car that Elon bought at auction some years back, and a big flat screen showing images of Los Angeles in November 2019, but actually from the movie Blade Runner. I'm glad to see that our skies aren't quite as horridly polluted as they appear in the video, so I think we're actually doing better than expected, but we could be doing a lot better if we drove more electric cars.
How did you get into the event? You left me here. You left me hanging. I'm by myself.
I know, and I'm so looking forward to drinking tequila of my choice. But, you know, interesting news
I'm
is
by
they had
myself.
a bar set up here, but only with ramen, which I kind of wasn't clear on. But then I realized that, you know, Decker in Blade Runner goes to this, like a noodle truck that's sitting out in the dreary streets of Los Angeles, and like talks to some dude about fish scales that are counterfeit with whatever. And so I guess that's why that was there. So you could have some ramen, but there are no sliders. There are no shardies. There's as yet no bar. I'm inching my way forward to a single doorway with like 400 other people behind me. Everybody's being very respectful. Nobody's reaching in my pockets or fondling me. That's great.
That's
I'm
not
almost
great.
to the door. It's not great. You would rather be fondled?
Yeah, I think a little fondling would be better.
It's literally 4 feet wide, me going through this 4 foot wide opening. And now I'm in. And there's smoke, and there's lasers. There's a lot of red lights. There's a bunch of important people up high on this, I guess, this balcony, but I wasn't one of them. And what else? Oh, there's a ramp right here. It looks like there's going to be a truck coming out of a roll-up door to my right, and there's a massive ramp. I'm going to plant myself right here on the ramp. Yes, ma'am. I'm being directed. I guess from this position, I can't see the rest of the room. Some other stuff down there. I don't know what it is, but I'm going to just hang out right here. Oh, they're putting up a rope right in front of me. How are you, Mel? What are you up to?
Well, I'm standing here at the bar, being very sad that you and Tom aren't here, and I was just sort of getting my my pre-show thoughts together. And one of the things, you know, Elon has been tweeting a lot today. So the first time they talked about this truck was 2012. First time he tweeted about it. So that's 7 years ago. We've been waiting for this thing for 7 years, and
it's a long time to wait for a truck.
it's a long time to wait for anything. And he said in that tweet 7 years ago, he says, "I'd love to make a Tesla super truck with crazy torque, dynamic suspension, air suspension, and corner on rails. That would be sweet." So, Robert, what are we going to see tonight?
Well, you know, I've been asking a bunch of people, primarily, what do they think the and something more will be? I know we're going to see a truck. I sent out some pictures. I've shared some pictures with you. There's a lot of controversy as to whether or not some of these images that have been pulled out of the Tesla promotional material are valid or not. I'm really curious. As usual, I'm kind of afraid that this truck is going to be an abomination, right? Something that Elon thinks is really cool, something that, a bunch of the people at this event are going to think are cool, but not the dude who's going to come and remodel your spare bedroom, or maybe the guy who's going to drive around with your electric lawnmower and your electric leaf blower.
Yeah, I think that's the concern of a lot of people is this going to be so futuristic, so bizarre, it's going to appeal to sort of a yuppie with lots of extra cash just to drive around versus like a true utility vehicle. So can you do both? Can you do something that's new, extraordinarily interesting, and also be for the gardener, for the contractor, for the person who's actually really needs a truck? Is that possible?
Well, I think if you use improved engineering and materials, so in other words, you save money on the production of the vehicle by using smarts instead of materials. If you have a program that creates the truck that doesn't have a lot of like stale ideas and wasteful methods, I think you could probably make a truck that really appeals to a wider portion of the audience. But I'm still very hesitant and worried that the cyberpunk and just sort of like flashy, out of the ordinary design is going to just affect way too many people.
Yeah, well, we will know soon. I mean, I think trucks are bought by a couple of different people. I think they're bought by people who need them. They're workers. This is their job. It's their livelihood. There's people who just like trucks. Like, I grew up in the country. There was a lot of people that just bought trucks because they was like, it fit their persona, but they didn't really need a truck. And then he seems to be trying to catch a category of people that doesn't necessarily exist. If it's truly cyberpunk, which is like future person. And I'm not sure who that future person is, except somebody with lots of money who'll just buy it because it's a Tesla. So like you, I hope it's not too far off the beaten path, because I'd like it as sort of a camper truck. I would never buy a truck. I don't live on the farm anymore. I grew up on the farm, but I would buy a truck that could be sort of a camper. Huge range, go deep into the forest, and then have some of those things like we've seen from Rivian, which basically makes it a camper as well as a truck.
Yeah, I think if they could, like, maybe the something extra is some sort of a camper version or camper add-on that makes it something that, all of us would want to have. That would be amazing. I did go to this investors event this morning for a lunch gathering that included Galileo Russell from Hyperchange. And that was really informative because some of the people there were saying that they would buy the truck just because it's a Tesla. They love Tesla. They don't need a truck. And what was going through the back of my mind was, how is that environmentally responsible? How is that not a waste of carbon? Because it takes a lot of carbon to produce these vehicles. And if you're not using it in a way that offsets a dirty truck out there on the road, then you're not living up to the moral, ethical focus of this whole movement.
Well, yeah, I've heard it said before, you don't consume your way out of an environmental crisis. And so that's true. But that has been true of Teslas for a long time, that Tesla owners tend to love their cars, tend to drive a lot. And so our carbon footprint may not be that great unless you're using 100% solar energy. But again, it's sort of that you bought your S, you bought your X so that the 3 could come out there, so that you could get past the sort of the people like you and I and the people watching the show tonight who love their Teslas, so that then it moves into it's just a car. The Model 3 is just a car, and it's a great car. It's a wonderful car. Instead of buying the Corolla, you buy the 3. The truck might be the same way. A lot of people will buy the truck who don't need the truck. There'll be a carbon footprint associated with that, but the downstream effect over time will be the right truck to get will not be the F-150 for your gardening or your work. It will be a Tesla truck. So initially it might not be environmentally friendly, but the downstream effect will be very positive.
Yeah. Guess who I'm standing next to?
Who?
David Schreiger.
How did he get in?
Got Mel on the phone. I don't know. Hello, Mel.
Dave, look, you're online. There's thousands of people watching you, listening to you right now. How the hell did you get into this event?
I have my ways. I drove down from Oxnard this morning and came to the event.
Did you just show up and ask for somebody to let you in?
No, my buddy is well connected. He flew out from Connecticut today, so I picked him up
Okay.
and we came here.
So give us your thoughts. You are a Tesla owner.
I am.
What do you give a crap about this truck? Are you going to buy a truck, or are you just there for the event?
I give a crap about it because it would be very cool if electric trucks took over. But I'm not really in the market for a truck. I don't need a truck, but I'm curious to see what this truck is going to look like, and I'm anxious to see the world go electric.
So, what's the feeling there in the room? Is there lots of excitement? Is there lots of just give us the feeling, because we're sort of blind here, those of us that are outside the event. And I just saw that they just changed the countdown clock from like 3 minutes to 8 minutes.
Could be. So they just turned on the smoke machine, so that's always a sign that something's about to happen.
Yes.
I am situated right where the metal sliding door will open and the car will be revealed, and then it'll drive up a ramp onto the stage. And so the mood of this place, it's really mixed. I mean, there are some people who clearly are aficionados and have come in all kinds of various electronic regalia, lighted hats and lighted suits and various types of eyewear that are luminescent. And then there are a lot of people who are just sort of hanging out. Most people got here fairly early and have basically just sitting around doing not very much. There was a Tesla coil outside, and there was a show put on 2 or 3 times, which was kind of cool. But people are a little fatigued at this point, I think, and are anxious for this to happen. I think the hum will pick up considerably once something starts happening. But right now, people are a little bit numb, I think. It's a little muted by the fact that people have been waiting so long.
Yeah, people get overexcited. They get there hours early. This happens every time at these events, and they usually start way late. But we'll see. Now they're saying 6 minutes.
So yeah, that sounds about right from the look of the place. It's pretty well filled up. Not many more people are trickling in, and it's pretty much filled to capacity at this point. They can't get too many more people in here without the fire marshal being unhappy. So, would you like the professor back?
Yeah, let's get the other professor back because, he's the show.
Yeah.
So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, that was Dave Schreiger, who's a professor of emergency medicine at UCLA, the mentor to myself and to Robert, and a recent converter to electrification. And he got himself in. I can't believe that you saw Schreiger there.
Well, he is an emergency physician in Elon's backyard, so there may be another story to that, but privacy issues prevent any kind of revealing.
So, Robert, I got a question for you. Elon tweeted out this afternoon that the truck is inspired in part by The Spy Who Loved Me, and then he put a clip in there. It was a YouTube clip of The Spy Who Loved Me, and for those who don't remember, it was 1977. That was the famous Bond movie where there was the car, I think it was a Lotus, that went under the water. So he drives off the end of the pier, he goes under the water, and then it turns into a submarine, and then he shoots a rocket out and he blows up a helicopter. So which parts of this is going to be the truck, Robert? Is it going to be the fact that this truck is going to go underwater, or that it can shoot rockets?
Well, I know he also said that the truck will be able to be made completely hermetically sealed so that it could be driven on Mars. So that might be part of the inspiration. He does, however, have the truck, the Spy Who Loved Me car here. It was on display in the lobby as everybody was moving their way into the design studio. So there's 2 direct references there. I'm not sure what more there is to it.
Yeah, well, Elon is always very, what is the word? He's mysterious, and trying to pass together these sort of cryptic messages that he sends us is very difficult. So I don't know what that means. It's fun.
There was also these tweets he sent out about Model 3 dot Space USA, was it? I can't remember it was, but there were some interesting tweets in there that I couldn't really decipher.
Yeah. So other things, we're going to, hopefully, in about 3 or 4 minutes, they're going to go live. So what do you really want to see out of this truck for it to be a success? So one of the things you said is styling that's not too weird. So hopefully interesting, but not too weird. But what else do you want to see?
I want to see a truck that's very comfortable to sit in, that's even more comfortable to drive, that is reliable. I don't know that people who are going to be in the market for a truck, like contractors and ambulance companies, are going to care that much about fit and finish. They're not going to care so much about leather, beautiful seats. But I want a truck that's going to be useful and well used and embraced. Something that's going to bring us closer to having electric trucks instead of ICE trucks.
Well, here's what I want to see. I want to see, because of Rivian, actually, I think that Rivian should have inspired them and pushed them. So I want to see some really interesting storage. So yeah, you want a truck that goes a long way. You want to have a lot of power. You want to be able to pull things. But I want to see a front that's really interesting. Like the Rivian, I'd like to see something between the front and the back of the cabs, maybe with some interesting way to bring in something like the cooking stuff like they did on Rivian. And people have been talking about the possibility of new battery tech, that maybe what they'll do with this release is bring out something new with the 2170s or something even more interesting. That
something that includes like an ultra capacitor to make the filling up of the truck really, really fast.
Yeah, something like that. They bought a number of companies. I think it's too soon, although maybe they, we're not going to see this truck get built tomorrow, but they might be able to reveal, because of Maxwell, because of ultra capacitors, some stuff that could really move the battery forward, the range forward, the power forward in terms of torque when you need it. So I'm really interested in that. But what I'm most interested, like you, is what's the one more thing? Last time we did a stream like this, I got completely caught off guard, and there was one more thing called the Roadster, which was amazing. Do you have any sense of what the one more thing could be?
I'm thinking the one more thing could actually be a trailer that comes behind the truck as an option, that has another skateboard of battery, that has the capacity to tow yet more equipment and have more ability to run your tools.
If that trailer also had the ability to add a battery pack so that it could radically increase your range, that would be so cool. If that,
so you could haul, like 7,000 pounds of bags of rocks and take it 200 miles.
Yeah, because as soon as you start pulling heavy weights, and this is true of ICE cars, of electric cars, range gets killed. So fix that by adding some battery in the thing that you're pulling.
Yes.
So we're pretty close now. They're saying like 40 seconds. So I just want to tell the people who are watching the stream, and unfortunately I can't chat because I'm holding the phone up here. But what we're going to do is, as soon as it goes live here, I'm going to get my ugly mug off here, and I'll just go full screen, and you can just watch the stream. I'll be writing notes, and then as soon as the event is over, I'll make my comments. And Rob, if you can call me as soon as you can after the event is over, and we'll get you back onto the stream.
Great. Yeah, I can see they got 3 cameras, one on a big boom, all fired up. They're all being aimed in various positions, so we should go live any moment now.
Oh, we're going live. Maybe now? Maybe now? Maybe now.
Whoop, whoop, whoop.
Talk to you soon.
Talk to you soon.
So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, they sucked us into believing they were going live when they actually weren't, and now it's please stand by. But what we see right now is what is clearly the headlights. What we see is absolutely no idea of what this truck is going to look like, and looks like there's a lot of smoke there. Well, I don't know if that's actually live, whether that's something that they mocked up beforehand. So let me go over again what we're going to do here. So we are going to, as soon as they go live here, I'll go full screen, and you can watch the stream here. If though, because we're doing a stream of the stream, if you're having problems, then just sort of jump over to the Tesla stream directly, and then know that after Elon says thank you and walks off the stage and bye, and everybody goes crazy, you can come back here if you want to have a little chatty chat and a little discussion about what was revealed. So again, let me talk about the things that I would like to see. I want to see, again, something interesting in shape. I think it's really important, actually, that there's an interesting shape to this puppy, but it doesn't have to be too crazy. Let me just turn this audio off here. But it has to be interesting. It has to stand out. You have to be driving down the freeway and go, oh, that's just another pickup truck. I can't tell you if it's a Ram or it's an F-150. There's something interesting that makes it stand out that make people go, what? But you can go too far. You can be too radical. And I think that's a lot of our anxieties, because Elon has said many times that he's going to make this thing cyberpunk, futuristic, maybe too far on that design front. So we're a little bit anxious about that. We'll see. The other interesting things I've already talked about with Robert, I want to see a big frunk. And I'd like to see already them thinking about, and here's some of the ways you could use that frunk. Turn it into an ice chest. Do some other things with it. Obviously, if this is going to be functional, then that back tray has to be big. It has to be useful for people might use this actually for their business. They can put a lot of tools in there. They can put a lot of stuff in there. I'd like to see that they've created some way actually to enclose that, both just flat and sort of large, so that you could also think about it in terms of a camper-like van. That would be pretty cool. Now, with Rivian, what we saw is between the front cab and the back tray is that there was a big giant hole. And what they put in that big giant hole, or they suggested you could put in that big giant hole, was in fact like cooking materials, like an oven. What's the word I'm looking for? An electric stove. Thank you. An electric stove. So you can then pull that out when you're camping and then use the big giant battery that's in there to run your electric stove and to cook and do all your stuff, and then just slide that puppy back in. That kind of thing turns this from a truck that you can use in many different ways into sort of a camper truck. The other thing you could do with a big hole like that, we saw some images of them, people throwing surfboards and other stuff in there as well. And we haven't even talked about that front cab. How big is that front cab going to be? It could fit 6 people, so it's a dual cab. I just assume that that's what it's going to be, because that's sort of been the thing that people have been doing for a while. But if it's a dual cab, then 6 people, 500-mile range. It's kind of crazy how good that could be. So, it's about to start. So I'm going to just go full screen and we'll talk at the end of this puppy. Herbert out.
straws, I promise. Los Angeles, November 2019. The skies are polluted. The world is addicted to oil. But we're here to offer a solution. The Cybertruck, the #1 mode of transport for a cyber girl. The greatest evolution in vehicular, fashion, and function. I now present to you my creator.
Welcome to the Cybertruck unveil. I love you guys too. I love you guys too. Hey. Trucks have been the same for a very long time. Like 100 years. Trucks have been basically the same. We want to try something different. Let's show you what trucks have, you see trucks all the time, but as a reminder, what do they look like? Yeah, so sorry to, this is a trial. This is a trial. Please bear with us. So, it's actually hard to tell. It's hard to tell which is which, really. We took the brands off, but it's hard to tell which is which with the brands off. They'll pretty much look the same. We need something different, and we need sustainable energy now. If we don't have a pickup truck, we can't solve it. The #1 selling vehicle in America, top 3 selling vehicles in America are pickup trucks. We have to, if to solve sustainable energy, we have to have a pickup truck. So I present to you the Cybertruck. Doesn't look like anything else. So we'll start off with the size, the dimensions, and the inspiration. So the functionality I'm going to describe is within a space that is less than the most popular pickup truck in the United States, the F-150. So we didn't cheat in either width, height, or length. And we're able to achieve much greater capability in the same dimensions, same weight. Yeah. The part of this is the fundamental design change. We moved the mass to the outside. We created an exoskeleton. So normally, the way that a truck is designed, you have a body on frame, you have a bed on frame, and the body and the bed don't do anything useful. They're carried like cargo, like a sack of potatoes. It was the way that aircraft used to be designed, when they had biplanes, basically. The key to creating an effective monoplane was a stressed skin design. You move the stress to the outside skin. It allows you to do things that you can't do with a body on frame. So we're able to make the skin out of thick, ultra-hard stainless steel. It's really hard. We're going to show you just how hard. So Franz has a sledgehammer. Now, don't hold back. Okay. Yeah. It's a regular truck door. Want me to do this? Go ahead. Yeah. Yeah, hit it a couple times.
You want to hit it again? All right.
Yeah, nice. Now hit the Cybertruck. Same thing. Hit it harder. Yeah. Really wind up. Nail it. Yeah.
It's pretty strong.
Very strong. So if you think about a truck, you want a truck that's tough. You want a truck that's really tough, not fake tough. You want a truck you can take a sledgehammer to. A truck that won't scratch, doesn't dent. What else can we do with this truck? What if we shot it? Let's shoot it. Guy, OSHA. I mean, come on. So that's a 9mm bullet shot at the door. Shoot it. We're in California, unfortunately. But the 9mm, it is literally bulletproof to a 9mm handgun. That's how strong the skin is. So it's ultra hard, cold rolled stainless steel alloy that we've developed. We're going to be using the same alloy in the Starship rocket and in the Cybertruck. Yeah, you're welcome. So on the right, that's like normal truck doors. Like might as well be made of tissue paper. That's looks like a paintball. Very different. So, when you say something's built tough, that's what we mean. What about the glass? Seems like a vulnerability. Yeah. Transparent metal glass. Yeah, that's right. Let's show some of the tests. What can we do with this? Yeah. All right. let's show the glass demo. There you go. So first, this is regular glass. This is like normal glass, car glass. We want to show you what happens with normal car glass. Shatters immediately with a little ball. Now I'll show you Tesla Armor glass. Nothing. Yeah. But it's kind of a small ball though. Let's maybe like do it at a bigger height with a yeah. Yeah, so still doing it, I guess. Yeah, not bad. A bigger bowl. Yeah. Yeah. Not bad. Franz, could you try to break this glass, please? Yeah.
Sure?
Yeah. Oh my fucking god. Well, maybe that was a little too hard.
Should we try them?
Sorry? Okay. It didn't go through. So that's a plus side.
Let's try the right.
Try that one, really? Okay. Sure.
Oh, man.
It didn't go through. All right. Not bad. Room for improvement. All right. Let's see. So yeah. We did actually throw everything. We threw wrenches. We threw everything. We even literally threw the kitchen sink at the glass, and it didn't break. For some weird reason, it broke now. I don't know why. You know, just fix it in post. So, in addition, the car has an adaptive air suspension. It's literally built, with adaptive air suspension. So. This will come standard on all the cars. I think this is actually a very important design element because if you have if every truck has the ability to adjust the ride height, so you can go very low or very high, so you can be efficient on the highway, and you can also go off-roading. It's going to have the highest clearance of any production truck. So we're going to have about a 16-inch clearance, and you can adjust this on the fly. So it's adaptive damping and adaptive ride height. These are actually extremely important for a truck. Because trucks, when you only drive them, they're either too cushy or they're too hard. You need it to be able to adjust dynamically depending upon what the load is. If you've got a lot of people on board, if you've got a full bed in the back, it's got to adjust accordingly. So, yeah. Let's talk about the, we call it the Vault, Cybertruck Vault. So, let's see. Yeah. Let's demo this active, yeah. So, the rear is 100 cubic feet, 6.5 foot length, bed length, up to 3,500 pounds of payload. Yeah. And it can tow. But what about a real world test? Like, let's actually have a tug of war here with an F-150. So you can see, we're see which one can pull which. Let's do the tug of war video. I mean, yeah, it was uphill. So let's see on-road the performance. Now let's see how does this compare to a Porsche 911? Okay, we're going to give the Porsche a little bit of a head start. Yeah, this is a current edition Porsche. And this is the actual truck. This is not CGI. In terms of off-road performance, it's going to have the best angular approach angle, best clearance heights, best departure angle. For people that really go off-road, this is going to be great. You could basically do the Baja Rally in this thing. We have 3 ranges. So, yeah. So obviously it'll have access to all superchargers, be capable of more than 250 kilowatts. We'll reveal the actual number later. And it has onboard outlets for 110 and 220 volts. So you don't need a generator. The truck literally is your generator. And as a little plus, because it's got an air suspension, we can tap off the air suspension, so you have a pneumatic source. So you have you need an onboard air compressor. Of course, it will come with autopilot standard. Yeah. So there'll be 3 versions. But it's gonna. Yeah. So that's the price without any incentives. That's just like the price without any incentives. But the actual economics are even better than that because the cost of electricity is much less than the cost of gasoline. So when you look at the actual cost of ownership here, it's you're paying much less for electricity than you are for gasoline. You're paying much less for maintenance. There's no oil changes, no smog checks, none of that stuff. So your maintenance is low, your cost of operations is low, and so it's actually comparable to a gasoline truck that's $10,000 to $15,000 less. Yeah. All right. Yeah, so you can order now if you would like. Tesla.com/Cybertruck. Oh, I should say also, we're going to be offering rides in this all night. Yeah, don't mind the glass. So, anyway, thank you guys for coming. I think it's going to be a great party, and you'll love riding around this thing. It's great. All right, thank you. Oh, wait. We have. Should we do the? Oh yeah. We made an. We also made an ATV. So. Let's bring it out. So you can see the truck. This is what I mean by the adaptive air suspension. Yeah, nice work, by the way. So the adaptive air suspension, you can drop real low, and you go high on the other side. We call this load mode. So you got load mode, you got a built-in ramp. So you can take a ATV or dirt bike, whatever you want, and load it on the back. Yes. Oh, and it's currently plugged in and charging. Yeah. Feel like the car is adjusting itself. So you can go like real tight on the freeway, and you can go way high off-roading. Yeah. All right. Thank you.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, what just happened? I think what just happened is some people's worst fears and some people's greatest fantasies. So let's go over this quickly, and then I'll try and sort of capture some of what you're all chatting about here, and then we'll see if we can catch Robert. So they start off with saying, look, to solve sustainable energy, you've really got to have a truck because the top 3 selling cars in the United States are trucks, and this is all very true. We know this. Americans love their trucks, but this is true also overseas. They started off with a sledgehammer to the side of a standard door and a standard truck, and it was terrible. And then they did it on the Cybertruck, and it was amazing. And then they started doing the glass stuff, which was clearly the most embarrassing stuff. So initially it was a great demo, and then the glass broke. It is extremely dangerous on a prototype to do things like they just did, and they've probably learned their lesson. You're never going to see that again. Do not throw hard things at glass, because even if you think your glass is fantastic, you can have problems. So it can tow a lot. That was the next thing. It's ridiculously fast. You know, a truck, a pickup truck, a ute, they'd call it in Australia, 0 to 60 in 2.9 seconds. That is insane. Quarter mile in 10.8 seconds. What? Beating a Porsche 911? Hello. Now at the high end, the range is going to be over 500 miles. Now that is a huge thing. I think that's really, really important. And 250 kilowatt hour charging. Air compressors that you can use from suspension. So, you know, if you're a contractor, you can use that air compression system for things like, you know, popping in nails and stuff. It's going to have onboard 110 and 240 volt chargers or adapters, or what are they called? Plugs. They talked a little bit about cost of ownership. Then they went on to talk about the fact you can order it now. Maybe I've got the wrong thing here. Yep. And then they brought out the ATV, which is just sort of a little fun thing. And then they took the ATV and they put it up under the back of the bed, and it drives in and it's charging. So that's all very interesting. But of course, the overwhelming thing is that it looks totally Blade Runner-ish. It looks bizarre. And most of the people, I would say, on the chat here, and we have lots and lots of people watching, but we have, about 600, 700 people chatting about it. Mostly people were saying this is ugly as hell. And so I kind of agree with you that it's kind of ugly as hell. I'm going to see if I can actually go back here. And, people say they're ordering right now. It's $100 down. I don't know when this is due. So actually, let's see if we can order this now. Let's go further forward. So there's the picture, okay? So 250-mile range for the low end, 500 miles at the high end, significant towing capacity, dual motor, all-wheel drive, 300 plus miles range, 10,000 pound capacity, super fast, 0 to 60. And then a tri-motor, I'm guessing this is 2 in the back, 1 in the front, but I don't really know. 500 plus mile range, 14,000 pound capacity, 2.9 seconds, 0 to 60. Crazy. The self-driving here again, $7,000. And you can buy it now. You have to put $100 down. So this is what he warned us of, and unfortunately he has done, which is this is totally and completely different than any other truck you've seen. So there's an upside and a downside to this. The upside is that some people want this because it is totally and completely different than anything you've ever seen in terms of a truck, in terms of any other car. And there are people that are just going to want that. There are other people, I think a lot of people that are going to be turned off by this and say, no way. This is a particularly gray, sort of depressing color. What does this look like in red? What does this look like in blue? What does this look like in another color? This is certainly going to be a head turner. If you want to turn heads, this is the truck to get. And in terms of the tug of war thing, that was pretty cool, and you're going to see a lot more of that. Elon has said it might be, and this was in the past, so radical that it's going to turn a lot of people off and they'll do a different version of this. I wonder what design iterations will occur between now and when you get this. And I'm just looking down here on the bottom, and it says in the little letters, production... it looks like production is expected to begin in late 2022. So this thing is still 2 years away. So 2 years away still. So this could undergo significant changes, although if we look at the S, we look at the X, we look at the 3, not so radical changes that it's not going to look like that. One of the things I was particularly interested in was what does the inside of this thing look like? And they did not go to the inside of this vehicle at all. They did not go into the dual cab, although it was a dual cab design. We saw that from when they first opened up the car. But they also didn't show us like the flatbed. They didn't show us anything Rivian-like in terms of other storage. They didn't go to the frunk. So that is going to be the speculation that goes on for months and now apparently for years afterwards. What does the inside of this thing look like? Will that change your mind? You hate the outside of it, but if the inside is spectacular, will that make you feel better? What's the size of the frunk? What funny things could you do in there? How does this flatbed actually work? With these big tall sides to this thing up here, is that going to be weird because you can't put, your wood and stuff from Home Depot in there? So there's a lot to be discussed about that. Let me just try and see if I can catch some of the chatters here, of which we've now gone up to like 900. Yeah, they didn't show the inside in terms of the touch screen. They said, yeah, you're going to have fully autonomous self-driving, extra $7,000. But can you paint the stainless steel as one person? If you scratch, what do you do with that? A lot of people saying it's stainless steel. It's like a DeLorean. It's not painted. But will it be painted? Again, I say, what does it look like when it's painted? They really did this sort of cyberpunk joking thing. It's all about, what's it called? Blade Runner. So I'm a little, taken aback, although part of me knew that this was going to be like this. I think part of all of us knew that it was going to be a cyberpunk, bizarre-looking Elon, weird personality thing, and that's what we got. but that could be to its upside, it could be to its downside. I really want to take a look inside of this thing. In terms of the specs, you couldn't get better specs though, right? Let's just focus on that. If we can like stop looking at this thing and going, oh my God, is that the most ugly thing in the world, or is that the future? But if you think in terms of specs, at the high end, just think about this for a second. At the high end, he's talking 0 to 60 in under 3 seconds. So it is a sports car, like not even a sports car, a super high-end sports car in terms of acceleration. At the high end, he's talking about 500-mile range. That is significantly more than any Tesla has ever had. That is 2 times more than the average high-end electric car. We're talking 500-mile range. Now, you're going to maybe suck up a lot of that range because you're going to be using it at a job site. But that's the point, right? The point is that for most of the jobs and stuff that you're doing, you might use, if you're working at hard, 100 kilowatt hours at the job site, and you'll still have 300-mile range on this thing, depending on how the specs work on this. Although this thing looks very aerodynamic. They didn't talk about anything like that. So if you're like me and range is like this big thing, 500 miles range is huge. Now, one of the things I was talking about before is could this be sort of a camper vehicle? I can absolutely see this as a camper vehicle with third-party sort of plugins. So now you've got this truck. You could put a bed in the back of this thing, like a bed, like what's it called? A bed in the back of this thing. And then you've obviously got electrical outlets there. You could put some lights in there. You could put some form of heating and cooling. We didn't hear if they've got any of that in there. But you could drive this into a national park, long way. And then you could put down the back and slip into this the bed of this thing and read a book and have a nice sleep and then get up the next day and do some more driving. So this could be turned into a camper van. Now, again, in the front part of the truck, what are they doing there? Are they holding back? Are they going to do something interesting in that dual cab thing? You could do some really interesting things, obviously. Looks like there's a fair amount of room in there. You could have these chairs, the seats really lie down. You could potentially, house a couple of people up there sleeping pretty stretched out, 6-footers. And then you could have a couple of 6-footers in the back of this puppy. So it really could be sort of a camper van-like experience. Somebody's telling me here, Mel, go to the website. So let me see if I can do that right now. Go over here to tesla.com. Let's see what's happening over on the website. And let me do a hard refresh because roads to energy. I'm not seeing anything new on the website. So tell me, what am I supposed to be finding on the website? There is photos of everything that you are speculating about. Okay, so why the hell can't I find them? Let me try again, another hard refresh. I'm cached here. Everything I'm talking about, they say is here. Okay, yes, wide roadster, energy. Come on. How do you do a hard refresh, peeps? I was doing a Command R. What is a hard refresh? Help me out here. Oh, okay, go to Cybertruck. Okay, so it's not necessarily on the front page. So I'm going to go here. People are saying that on Cybertruck. All right. So let's look at some pictures here. So yes, we've seen this exoskeleton. Yes, very strong. Got it. Moving down here. So there's the tray. So it's sort of a standard tray. It's got the high edges. I like this thing, but let's go back here. Let's go up further. Versatile utility, specs. Okay, we're talking about those. So am I missing? So somebody tell me, what am I missing here? I want to see the inside. So it's got adaptive air suspension. That's fine. Let me just flip through. Okay, so now here's an inside picture. Pretty standard looking. Look at that steering wheel. Okay, there's a camper mode right there. I'm loving that look. Let me just flip through them. They're doing this automatically. Ultra strong. Okay, it's pulling. There's got the ATV in it. So I wish I could make this pause. So this could fold down. This could fold down. And then the camper van stuff. What is this? Oh, here we hit. Oh, man, I'm having a hard time with this to stop it. But look at this here. This is that Rivian-like thing. Things are folding out here. Why didn't they show this? Is it just not ready for prime time? So when I see stuff like that, it means that they're not ready. Rivian is a lot further ahead on this, but it looks like they are doing some of those Rivian things, which is potentially super interesting. So did they say when it's coming out? Yes, they did say that it's coming out in 2022. There was something about 2021 there, but 2022. Let me go up here again. We looked at these specs. Let me go down here again. These images just keep flicking through, and that's kind of annoying. But there's some stuff there that looks like Rivian-like stuff. So I'll probably let me just see if I can call Robert and see if he's going to get into this puppy. So let me just try him. One moment, please, as I try and call him. See if we can catch him here. Otherwise, I think we all need to go and digest this. We need to go have a glass. Hey, what do you think?
I was impressed for much of the design and the, I guess it's the execution that I'm having a little bit of a hiccup on. The shape and the look of it, I'm gonna have to let it grow on me. I like the concept a lot. I mean, who wants a bulletproof truck? Like the Secret Service,
Right.
The president, name any law enforcement and or military agency. That's a lot of sales right there, quite honestly. Hopefully, the glass on the production vehicle doesn't smash.
That was
when,
embarrassing.
They throw a ball into it. Yeah. I'm watching some amazing slow motion of Franz smacking the car with the sledgehammer, and the door just vibrates, and then it's like, doesn't look like he hit it at all. So, I mean, it's sort of like they can market this as an amazing space vehicle because it's made out of the same thing that they're shooting up into, they're going to shoot up into space as long as it doesn't blow its top. That's a whole other story.
So we had about 1,000 people chatting while we're watching this thing, and I would say overwhelmingly most people are saying this is ugly and ridiculous. Some people just loving it. What does it look like in person?
It looks amazingly intimidating. It feels like a B-1 bomber on wheels, which, I still have a hard time getting a B-1 bomber into my head that it's an airplane, and it's been out for, decades. So this car is probably going to be not too different, but again, I like a lot of the functionality of it. That bed, how it opened up with a ramp, the self-leveling. I mean, I don't know how many, pickup trucks will have that, or if this is only going to be on the most extreme version. My sense was that they were going to put the leveling on all three versions. I mean, I think it will offer more for people who want functionality. They just have to get around the look of it.
Have you had a chance to look inside? Are you able to look inside and look like the steering wheel looks like the Roadster? It's not a round, it's sort of two triangles stuck together.
Yeah, that's very unlikely to fly in a production vehicle. I think they're going to have to, modify some of it. Some of my concern is what's going to happen to the other vehicle that it runs into, right? Crumple zones and absorbing the energy of an impact. This car is going to be murderous on the road unless there's, some amazing tech to keep it out of accidents. It'll certainly protect the occupants, but at the same time, it's going to transmit a lot of those forces through into the cabin and to the passenger. So I wonder where we're going to go as far as a safety rating on that. I mean, it looks great if you're in a rollover, right? Big trucks that are tall tend to roll over more. This car does not look like it's going to be much of a concern in a rollover situation. What else?
It looks like it's got a big glass panoramic roof, which is nice. The covering of the bed looks like it could have solar panels, although it may be just the way the pictures are rendered.
Yeah, no, I looked at that too. I looked at it really closely. I didn't see the reflectiveness of like a glass solar panel on that end, but I like that the glass extends over your head when you're in the car. I'm assuming that because I haven't actually sat inside of it. The other thing is that the bed is a little bit short, 6.5 feet. It's fine for, I guess I would just fit in it if I wanted to go camping in it. But if I wanted to drop some, 4x8 plywood slabs, I'd have to keep the bed down, and those would stick out. And I guess if there's tie-down points, you could still carry that stuff, but it doesn't have what Tom and I were hoping for, which would be something like a cool pass-through, like the Bollinger has.
Right.
But again, this is, the first version they're rolling out to us. I don't think this thing is going to be produced in the near future. And if you think about the S when it first came out and the X, they modified them, changed up the design quite a bit. So when will pencils be down on this new vehicle? I don't know.
They are planning for production in 2022, so it's only 2 years away. I said the same thing. The actual production version of this is going to be different, but this is still substantially what it's going to look like. What about the frunk? Did they open up the frunk? Can you see in there?
The only view of the frunk that I saw was when it was on photographs. It looked kind of generous. It didn't look as big as like the first Model S. That thing was enormous, but I couldn't tell if there was like a well that went back under the dash or anything like that. Mm-hmm. But again, if that truck is as tall as it is, getting in and out of that frunk might not be so easy. So it may not be the most practical place to stash, small things that are going to roll around like, a carton of eggs or something.
No, come on, dude. The front will just tip down, the back will tip up, and it'll be fine.
That's right, kind of like a horse that kind of dips its head down to get onto it.
So, I've had this impression when I first saw it, I'm like, this is a joke, and they're going to come out with a real truck afterward. But now I've been watching these images go by, and we've been doing this for less than an hour, right, or something like that, and I'm already getting used to this thing. And I wonder if that's the genius of this, is that this is definitely different than anything you've ever seen, but we're going to see these images over and over again for the next few years. We're going to get used to it, and we're going to get to the point where, actually, I want that. I do want Blade Runner because I'm already used to the lines. I'm already used to the blockiness of it. I think there might be a bit of genius here that we don't recognize.
Mel, can you write me a prescription for some Ativan?
Right, because everybody there needs some?
No, because for the next 10 days to, a month, we're going to be bombarded with images of this vehicle. And all the people that know that I'm interested in Tesla are going to give me tons of shit that it looks crazy, it looks stupid, it's a joke, it can't be real, Tesla's going to crash. I'm just waiting for that entire storyline to repeat itself again, like we had after, the X and the first threes that came with their body panel problems. I'm worried. I'm worried what it's going to be like, the storm over the next month.
Well, I can tell you, I can almost, this is not a stock buying advice, but I guarantee you that the stock price dumps tomorrow because the initial reaction of the world is going to be too much, too bizarre. Tesla's blown it. And then...
Take a look at what the aftermarket trading is doing right now.
Okay, I'll ask Google. Hey, Google, what's Tesla trading at right now?
Tesla is trading at $357.10 a share after hours, up 0.64% from closing.
It doesn't seem to have affected it right now. It's $358.
No, I don't think that the people who are shorting the stock are paying that much attention at this point. But
we'll see tomorrow.
Tomorrow would be a good time to buy the stock.
Yeah, I think it'll go down probably 10%. But again, as these pictures keep flipping by, I've gone from what the hell to, it's not bad, to hang on. And now I see the camper van in there. I see the Rivian-like stuff that's coming out of the back of this. They've got some pictures. I don't know if you see them there. But it looks like, I can open up the back of this thing and put a grill in the back. I can sleep in this thing.
Well, I can tell you that it'll be the coolest vehicle to take to the parking lot before the game and pull out your barbecue, and people are going to flip on that. And I can't tell you how many businesses, like the ones that say, lose weight fast, call me now. All those places are going to want to have the ads on the side of this truck as it's driving around. So I thought it was brilliant that Elon put up the pictures of those 3 pickup trucks at the beginning, the more recent pickup trucks, and said, well, how do they look any different than anything else? I thought that was pretty brilliant.
Yeah, and the price is kind of stunning, actually. 500-mile plus range with all this oomph for under $70,000. That is stunning. I thought this was going to be a $100,000 vehicle at the high end. So where have they skimped? And that's why I want to get you inside that cabin and sniffing and touching and seeing what that cabin looks like.
Well, all I know is that this is going to really decimate Bollinger. I don't think they're going to have a chance against Tesla with their $130,000 pickup truck in the face of this.
Yeah, that's interesting what this does to Rivian. Rivian is very different. Rivian is very more traditional, so I think they're going to be fine. But Bollinger just seems too expensive, and Tesla is beating it on specs all around.
And they have a track record. They can actually produce vehicles. So I'd love to see the stamping machines that are going to pound out these giant, super, super hard stainless panels. That's going to be exciting. I'm getting more excited now.
Yeah, well, Elon said that this is going to be radical, and if it's too radical, he's not afraid of doing another version. So I think they build this, they see how it goes, or they look at the pre-orders, see how many people are like, yeah, I'm in. And if it's doing very well, you won't expect another one. But if it's not doing well, don't be surprised if in a year from now we're looking at Truck 2.0.
Right. Well, at first when I came here, I was kind of concerned that I was going to miss out hanging with you, drinking excellent tequila, sitting in the studio. But it was kind of cool to be here, Mal. No knock to you.
I understand. Are you gonna hang around for hours and hours and get a ride in this thing?
Well, I feel kind of obligated. It's like you just gave me a mission statement.
Yes, I did.
We'll see. I know that all of the popular YouTubers and foreign press, and there's probably a good 100 to 150 people in the "you are allowed to ride in the vehicle" line, and it sounds like they're going to be the only ones. So I don't know. We'll see.
Do they just have one vehicle there?
That's what I know. The staff here are saying they don't know anything about anything.
I know nothing.
I haven't. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, then I'm going to end it here. And thanks for calling in. And people are going to be talking about this a lot. I'll be talking about it on the Daily. We'll be talking on the big show, the large show, the grand show, for no doubt weeks to come. So.
And you can check out my Twitter feed.
Yeah.
RROSENBL. I live streamed a bunch of the presentation from the side position, and those streams should be available ad nauseum.
Excellent. Thanks, Robert. We will talk to you soon.
Ciao. Bye, Talking Tesla Nation.
So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, there it is. I'm going to sort of end this now and try and go and metabolize all this. Really interesting. It's too soon to know whether this is genius or whether this is folly. But I will say that first reaction I had was, oh no, this is a joke, to, oh, he told us this was going to happen, to, as I see those pictures flipping by and looking at it, and then I'm looking at the specs going, hang on a second, give me a year or two to metabolize this shape, get used to it, and I might start looking at other trucks as, really? That is so 1980s. And I'll be looking at this truck as, hey, that's the future. And these specs are unbelievable. 500-mile range, 0 to 60 in under 3 seconds. 6 people can sit up the front there and they look like it, and you look inside there. Plenty of room. And then you've got a flatbed in the back. We can talk about how practical that is. But this is under 70,000. Hello. My name's Mel Herbert. The show is Talking Tesla. We do a daily show. It's called Elon Daily. We do a big show, a large show. And every now and then when Tesla comes up with something amazing, we do a live show. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I will talk to you soon. There probably will not be an Elon Daily tomorrow because I want to go to bed now. But thanks for chatting. Thanks for everybody for coming online. So much to talk about in the coming weeks und months und years. Herbert out.